ranking 9 different versions of Belle's gown. The Beauty and the Beast story is a tale as old as time. There are hundreds of books, film, and television series dedicated to the story, ranging from modern teen rom-coms to a Viking-style adaptation. The iconic yellow gown that Belle wears has had several adaptations over the years, and in this video I'll be taking a look at 9 different versions of Belle's yellow gown, which is undeniably her all-time signature look. Just like in the previous video, I'll be looking at how the outfit relates to the plot and that version of the character, as well as how it fits in with the aesthetics of the respective film. It will not be based on historical accuracy either. I'll be going over the dresses in no particular order, and at the end of the video I'll rank them. So let's get into it. Beauty and the Beast. This Disney live-action remake stars Emma Watson and Dan Stevens along with an A-list cast including Emma Thompson as Mrs. Potts, Luke Evans, and many more. The film chronicles the animated version along with providing a backstory to many of the original characters' past. The costumes by Jacqueline Duran help tell the story of an updated, badass Belle and her romance with the Beast. She says in an interview that the 1991 gown was always used as a really strong instrument and inspiration for this movie's gown. No one wanted to change or reinvent the animation because it's so strong and loved by everybody. It was always about adjusting and just making what's established in the animation work for live action. The adaptation conundrum. This might seem like a no-brainer, but 2D animation can avoid being 100% realistic when depicting reality. When you animate a character wearing a certain type of clothing, you don't insert realistic texture in your animation. It's our brain that fills in the gap. Because of that, in 2D animation, yellow is often a visual shorthand to represent gold, the same way that gray is a visual shorthand to represent metal. That in part is why so many people scratched their heads when they saw Belle's live-action ball gown was going to be simply yellow. Because for years your brain had filled in the gap and interpreted the animated version as a golden dress. Another element that doesn't translate well from animation to live action is the variety of the shades of yellow so that it doesn't feel as monochromatic. Instead, Belle's live-action dress is 100% yellow. Every single piece of dress is made in the exact same shade. What this does is flattens the image and makes it look two-dimensional. Compare it instead to the Cinderella new dress. Every layer of fabric in that dress is dyed a different shade of color: purple, green, blue, white. The final result is a dress that is overall blue, but it has different shades in it, not only making it look more 3D, but also meaning that it's way more engaging. Because every time I look at it, I have something different to look at. The third element that falls in the translation from 2D to live action is the texture. 2D animation generally is textureless. As mentioned earlier, our brain fills in the gap. Because of this, the most important task a designer faces when translating to live action is to create textures for the costumes. This process actually is very well done with Belle's blue dress. By using different fabrics and different hues of blue, the designer manages to create a costume that our brain registers as real. Going back to the yellow gown, there is such low amount of detailing on the dress. The only decor is the tiny gold thread pattern on the skirt. And while it's a nice touch, it fails to capture one's attention as it only creates but a tiny shimmer when she moves, which is very unnoticeable. Design-wise, simplicity is a really hard thing to make work. The problem with Belle's dress is that it mistakes simplicity for lack of structure. These types of dresses, like big theatrical ball gowns, base themselves, design-wise, around highly artificial shapes. That means that they need a structure underneath to shape them. From the 17th and the 18th century panniers to 19th century bustles, there is a need to create a specific shape and silhouette that can only be fulfilled by using understructures. Once again, I will refer you to Cinderella's costume. It looks that good because she's wearing a corset and a cage to achieve the specific shape, even though that use of a corset led to a big mediatic controversy. The magic of contrast. In costume design, a design does not exist in a void that separates it from the rest of the movie. It exists as part of a whole. Because of that, it needs to rely on contrast to create the ensemble of costumes that will populate the movie. Most design ideas are transmitted through contrast with the designs of the rest of the characters rather than individual elements. For instance, in HBO's Game of Thrones, we understand that Arya is different not because she's wearing pants, but because no other woman around her is. Or in Crimson Peak, Edda's yellow dress works to signal her as unique because everyone around her is dressed in ominous dark clothes. The list of examples goes on, but that's because the trick works. And that's something that the new Beauty and the Beast completely throws down the gutter. Not only are there bigger dresses than her yellow ball gown, there are a ton of bigger and more spectacular dresses throughout the movie. This in turn makes it very hard for us to feel wowed by Belle's dress. And although the creator said that this was done on purpose in order to show that she's not like everyone else, there are other more creative ways that they could have shown that Belle is not like everyone else. If they would have stuck closer to the period, we would have avoided the final design from looking like an overpriced prom dress, but we would have gotten something like this. It would have allowed that scene in Belle's character to feel more unique and original instead of being an over-glorified copy of something else. In short, Belle's yellow dress is an array of poor design choices that come together to create the most baffling and underwhelming design I've seen in a major Hollywood movie blockbuster in a very long time. From the choice of color to texture to understructure and layering to avoiding historical elements and sticking with the original, every single choice was the wrong choice. And it all amounts to a huge pile of tiny misconceptions that create a big mess of a dress. Beastly. Just like in other Cinderella story movies and Sydney White, Beastly was also pushed into production as a way of profiting from the fairy tale formula. Beastly is a modern retelling of Beauty and the Beast, co-starring Vanessa Hudgens, Mary-Kate Olsen, and Alex Pettyfer in a prep school setting. Pettyfer, who plays the shallow, popular senior Kyle, has a year to say I love you to a girl or he will remain permanently beastly due to a spell performed by a fellow student named Kendra, who's played by Olsen. Before Alex's transformation, he meets Lindy, Vanessa's character, and rather than taking her father's place as a prisoner in a castle, Lindsay's addict father kills a drug dealer and leaves Lindy in Kyle's hideaway, prompting the two to get to know each other. The familiar story is retold in an engaging way, bringing all the motives of the story to life once again. Now, there is no recreation of the dance scene, so there is no actual gown that can be used for this ranking. To be honest, Linda's entire wardrobe is forgettable, has no significant details or individual personal style. And if I'm completely honest, Mary-Kate's outfits as the witch are far more memorable and interesting. But unfortunately, those aren't the ones that will be analyzed in this video. Nonetheless, the dress that will be considered for this ranking is the one Lindy wears at the party. Apologies for not having a very clear picture of the outfit, but it was almost impossible to find a full shot of the dress. The outfit is a full-length beige dress with a bit of orange and blue. I like that I've used beige and orange, and although you don't directly associate it with Belle's dress in any way, I feel that these color choices are a good alternative for this outfit. The rose is a nice element, it links back to the original story, and I also like that the hairstyle is similar to a certain degree. If seen in another context, you would never associate this dress with Belle's gown, but when looking closer into the smaller details, you see a little bit of the story elements incorporated in it. However, in my opinion, it's not very lavish and does not have that wow effect, not even for a party dress, which is a shame as I feel it could have had a lot of potential even in that setting.
Are you someone in my head? If I just close my eyes, will I awake?
This version of Beauty and the Beast was made into a musical starring Rebecca De Mornay as the daughter of a merchant who falls for a beastly prince in disguise. Beauty is scared of the beast she's staying with, but a kind royal young man keeps coming in her dreams trying to tell her something. I like the dream sequences that were added, and while it's a little bit melodramatic and the music isn't the best, all these components managed to go very well together. This 80s movie has amazing costume designs with pretty gowns and outfits throughout the movie, not just in the lead characters. This gown will be used for the ranking. The dress reminds me of the fashion during the Renaissance era, specifically in the 1550s, 1560s, mostly comprised of rich, radiant colors, cuts, and great fabrics such as silk, satin, brocade, and damask. The dress comprises of a golden fabric which links it to the original version, but it also contains an additional use of light pastel blue. The sleeves are uniquely designed, they are puffy with an extra layer of full-length fabric, similar to the rest of the gown's fabric. I like braids, so there might be some bias in regards to the hairstyle, but in my opinion, it enhances the whole look, and even though it's not close to Belle's original hairstyle, I think this one works way better in this specific case as it gives an ultimate royal look. The dress as a whole is very heaven-like, is a word I'd put it. It transmits bright, radiant vibes, and the fullness of the sleeves and the skirt complete this imperial look.
If you see with your heart, every dream.
Beautician and the Beast. This comedy adaptation of Beauty and the Beast follows a New York beautician played by the wonderful Fran Drescher, enlisted to educate the children of a beastly dictator of the made-up Eastern European country Helvetia, who eventually falls in love with him. If you're a fan of The Nanny, then you'll likely enjoy this rom-com. With a touch of The King and I and the sound of music mixed in for good measure, it's an overall enjoyable movie. For this movie adaptation, the dress chosen for the ranking will be the one Fran wears during a ball she helped organize. I don't know why I never liked this gown. Even when I first watched this movie, it just never had that wow effect on me. Which is a shame because Fran has had an amazing wardrobe throughout her career as a nanny and in this specific role, with some incredible pieces that I still envy to this day and wish to have. Nonetheless, let's take a look at the gown in more detail. Now, I've previously mentioned that I'm a sucker for gloves, especially long ones, although I don't know if going with white is the best color option in this case. I'd have preferred something softer and closer to the color of the gown. Also, it feels as if the bodice is too long as the pattern continues down in the lower part of the dress. I like the pattern of the bodice, but I prefer the upper part to have been less edgier. I like that they accessorized this outfit, but the tiara might be a bit too glaring and take the attention away from the gown. This could be a result of the gown being too plain, at least in comparison to the accessories, that it fails to capture one's attention. Overall, it does exemplify many aspects of Belle's original gown, but in the end it feels like a cheap imitation of that gown with little alteration. Once Upon a Time, Rumpel and Belle. I'll start by admitting that I never watched this show. However, based on research and from popular opinion, Rumpel and Belle are one of the most popular romantic TV couples from the series. Their version of the story pays homage to the Disney cartoon while also changing it up a bit. This time, the Beast is the fairy tale character Rumpelstiltskin, and he's a beast obsessed with power. Now I'm going to leave it at that as I know nothing more of the series, but let's analyze Belle's gown for this adaptation.
Care to dance? This is called.
Everything, including the shape of the gown as well as the hairstyle and makeup, are identical to the original animated version. But just like in the first dress we mentioned, the pastel yellow tone is too evident, failing to deliver the luxe gold fabric as seen in the Disney gown. I dislike the shape of the sleeves, it feels too messy and all over the place. To be honest, I prefer this version of the dress, it's more glorious and royal-like, but I chose the previous one for the ranking as that's the one Belle wears when they recreate the dance scene. Blood of Beasts. Blood of Beasts is Beauty and the Beast Viking style. The medieval film follows a princess named Freya, who, fun fact, is the evil stepmother in Grimm's Snow White. Freya sets sail to a cursed island in hopes of finding her father and her lover Agnar, who were believed to be lost at sea. She encounters a beast who has held her father on the island, and she exchanges herself for him. Freya later discovers the island is not what it seems, and in the end the beast transforms back into Agnar. There is no ball or dance scene in this movie, but rather a dinner celebration, where Freya is wearing a simple long white dress with no style pattern or unique fabric to distinguish it somehow. But for that time period and place, I believe it must have been more than appropriate. However, it has no remarkable details and no links to the original dress whatsoever. I like the hair accessories, they make the overall outfit a little bit more interesting. A French fairy tale similar to the older 1946 version follows Belle, who asks the Beast to take her father's place as prisoner after he is sentenced to death for stealing a rose from the Beast's garden. Belle tends to reject the Beast's advances, but his past is revealed to her in her dreams. Later, she opens her heart to him and breaks him from his curse. Hands down, the most beautiful fairy tale film ever made. It's filled with stunning cinematography, dazzling gowns, and ethereal magic. While I think the story is not as strong as other versions, as they really rush through the growing relationship with Belle and the Beast, I still enjoy this adaptation for making me feel the childhood nostalgia of fairy tale magic. This adaptation has perhaps the most gorgeous beast makeup out of all adaptations. It also has the most beautiful costumes. The costume designer, who I'm not even gonna bother pronouncing the name, got inspirations from historical costumes, precious clothing materials, and origami aesthetics to realize the vivid costume designs in the movie. What I love most about the wardrobe here is without a doubt the detailing. There are so many gorgeous, breathtaking gowns throughout the entire movie. Belle is seen wearing many different outfits, all very carefully designed and complemented with magnificent jewelry. Unlike in other adaptations and in the original Disney movie, where Belle's most memorable outfit is a golden gown, here we see Belle's constantly serving us a new look every time. It was really hard to choose one for this ranking, but the dress that will be considered is the blue one from the dance scene. The bodice has a beautiful style pattern and fabric, the sleeves are designed in a unique way, and together with the fullness of the skirt give the entire outfit a glorious and majestic look. The color of the dress is very beautiful, and although it's quite different from the original, it matches perfectly with the setting, it fits Belle wonderfully, and it's overall an amazing gown. And although the color is much darker in tone, it displays a lot of presence and somehow gives a radiant appearance. I also adore the hair accessory. I think it truly adds an extra level of detailing and overall delivers an exceptional yet elegant gown. I remember my mom mentioning this show to me many times when I was younger. She watched the show a lot and had overall good opinions about it. The CBS series followed a New York District Attorney Katherine Chandler, played by the Terminator star Linda Hamilton, whose life is saved by a beastly man Vincent, who introduces her to an underground community of characters living below the city. Rather than Vincent transforming, the show focuses on his kindness, changing Catherine's shallow personality. In one of the episodes, titled Mask, Vincent and Catherine attend a costume ball set on Halloween night, and he is able to at last mingle with the normal people, as they mistake his appearance for a really scary costume. The message, of course, is that we fear that which is different or which we consider ugly, and only on Halloween night, a night of monsters and freakishness, does this prejudice fall. With that being said, let's take a look at Catherine's ball gown. I really like this one. The corset has a very beautiful design and the sleeves are puffy with gorgeous lace detailing. I like the use of different color fabrics, and they go very well together as they are all pastel. The skirt is made up of many layers, and this fullness gives the outfit a magnificent look overall. I love finding adaptations of Beauty and the Beast, and this Hallmark oldie is a wonderful find. Unlike many other versions, this one spends a good amount of time on building the friendship between Beast and Belle, which I love. George C. Scott plays an excellent Beast, but Trish Van Devere is my favorite as a lovely and incredible Strongly Belle. There are so many good moments in this TV film, including Belle and Beast discussing Aristotle, Belle trying to find out what kind of mythic creature Beast is, and giving Beast nicknames, my favorite being Lord Magic and Gentle Eyes. This film is not to be missed for fairy tale lovers. In terms of the gown, I love the shape of the skirt and the bodice. They've maintained the original yellow color and have added a warm red in the bodice. This color combination matches really well, and the addition of the ribbons in the bodice makes for a very beautiful dress. Before we continue with the final ranking, I thought it was worth mentioning another story adaptation. A series of horrific murders has a Beast being blamed for the crimes, and they must work together to investigate and discover who the true murderer is. The film had very mixed reviews, and it was critiqued as an, quote, odd, bloody, cheaply made, end quote, adaptation. I find the reviews true to the actual movie rating. Having just watched it for the purpose of this video, it was not a movie I'd recommend at any time or event. Unless you're a fan of bad movies, then this is for you. Or for Jamie French to review and make fun of, why not? By the way, Jamie, if you're watching this, I have a list of movies for you to review. Let me know if you need any suggestions. Unlike in the rest of the movie adaptations, this one has no dance scene, and we only get to see Belle in one outfit throughout the entire movie. A very casual and practical outfit, as it should be since she's constantly fighting and traveling in it. I actually like this outfit. If I were to dress in a Halloween costume or something, this isn't a bad choice. I also love corsets and the color pink, so it adds points for me there. However, this is very far from what we've previously discussed, and it wouldn't be fair to put this one in the ranking. I just thought it was worth mentioning. Now that we've gone through all 9 versions of Belle's gown, let's get into the rankings, starting from the worst and ending with the best. Number 9. Beastly. As I previously mentioned, this dress is too plain, and despite the incorporation of some minor elements of the original story to the outfit, it just doesn't score highly for me, and considering that this is a modernized version of the story, I was expecting something, well, a bit more modern. 8. Blood of Beasts. Just like in Beastly, this dress does not correspond to my perception of Belle. However, taking into consideration the movie setting, time period, and just everything overall, I think it's a good dress for a Viking belle. Beautician and the Beast. I really like the movie, probably because I'm a huge fan of Fran Drescher. However, as I said before, this dress never made an impression on me, and I admit that I expected way more for a ball gown, considering her amazing wardrobe outfits over the years. I like that they went for a similar color palette, closer to gold than yellow, and I did like the accessories, but overall, it just didn't do it for me, so I'm putting it at number 7. Coming at 6, we have Belle from Once Upon a Time. Unlike the previously mentioned gown, this one went for a single yellow tone. The sleeves were also too messy, and it honestly looked like an adult Halloween costume of Belle. I like that the hairstyle, makeup, and accessories were identical, but the gown was just not that impressive. Beauty and the Beast. I really enjoyed everything about this movie, including the costume design. All her wardrobe throughout the entire film is amazing, and I actually think she does a terrific job of portraying Belle. As this is a TV series and not a movie, the story adaptation changes quite drastically, with several scenes from the original movie being removed, such as the dance scene. Nonetheless, they do attend a Halloween party, and in that particular setting, I feel that her outfit was very appropriate and nicely designed with careful detailing and layering, giving the outfit a lot of presence. But if there was a prize for best Halloween costuming, Beast would definitely win over this Belle. I'm not gonna go too in-depth again as I want to avoid repetition, but to put it simply, Belle's gown doesn't manage to follow the visual pattern that many of us hoped for and expected, and seemed far too simple and less memorable than the rest of the costumes in the movie. Going with a single-tone pastel yellow instead of a beautiful gold fabric affected the overall image of the dress and failed to provide the wow factor. However, I really like when most aspects of an animated movie remain the same if chosen to be made into live action, and so they were clearly inspired from Belle's original gown, despite their poor delivery. For the second place, I have to give it to the Beauty and the Beast film from 1987. The entire gown was just magnificent and radiant with a great use of pastel fabrics. The extra layering, unique design of sleeves, and the overall look including the hairstyle gave this outfit a royal look. And finally, we have the French adaptation of Beauty and the Beast at number 1. Belle's entire wardrobe was astonishing, and each of her outfits was a masterpiece in itself. Although it's quite different from the original and I don't usually like deviations, in this case, it definitely deserves an exception as they did a wonderful job by focusing on aspects like history, amazing fabrics, and origami aesthetics to realize these incredible pieces. I really enjoy looking at different versions of an animated character or movie. It is really fascinating and interesting to look at how such a well-known character can be portrayed. Does it manage to transmit the traits and image of the original one? Does it change it significantly? Which aspects does it choose to keep or disregard when portraying it? It's a whole process, and a very complex one, I might add. I really hope you enjoyed this video and this ranking. Comment down below which character I should cover next, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you soon. Bye!